Going from a solid young team to becoming great. That's what the Memphis Grizzlies did in 2022, that's what the Timberwolves and Thunder did in 2024, and that's what the Rockets did in 2025. And so far, the San Antonio Spurs are showing every reason to believe that they're making the same leap, but this time, maybe even scarier. Every major leap begins around the team's best player, and so far, by every single metric and stat, Victor Wembanyama's been the best player in the NBA. Obviously, Victor's been touted as the greatest prospect ever, and he was really great, especially at the end of last year, but he was still pretty flawed in certain categories. First of all, he was taking a lot of jumpers, and that really held back his efficiency from guys like Jokic, Giannis, and Shea. He went from being top 6 in the league in 3-point attempts per game to all the way outside the top 100. And while Wemby obviously is not abandoning the 3-point shot and is still a really important part of his game, it's much more better to use it as a weapon than a primary way to score. Wemby's imposing his will way more inside the arc. Joining Shea, Luka, and Giannis, he's one of 4 players shooting more than 15 2-point shots a game. And his improved footwork, his soft touch, and fluidity is all showing up in these areas, and he's shooting 65% from 2. If he can plow through the rim, he's gonna shoot right over the top of you. If you're a bigger player, he probably just takes you off the dribble. And if he's off the ball and gets any sort of positioning, well, it's already over. He only has to jump 12 inches to dunk, and I think it's pretty easy to say that we've never seen a 7-footer move like this ever, let alone a player that's 7'5". Some of the angles Wemby gets on his drives, the ability to handle the ball low to the ground, remind you of guards like Kyrie Irving and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But this guy's 7'5". And Wemby's handle in general, it went from a nice flashy tool his first 2 years, now it's legitimately great. He can move wherever he wants on the floor. His handle's extremely effective, extremely efficient, and now he can get wherever he wants on the floor without turning it over. It's early obviously, but so far, his turnovers have been cut completely in half, 1.5. And if Wemby was able to sustain this start to the season, he would be having the most efficient high volume scoring season ever relative to turnovers. So that's that. Wemby's basically gone from a great offensive player who has a lot of high flashes to consistently being one of the most efficient and effective scorers in the world. And not even to mention how much he opens up in the pick and roll for guys like Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, and in the future, De'Aaron Fox. But none of this is even the best part or craziest part about Wembanyama so far this year. In his first 2 seasons, based off his height, wingspan, and mobility, he was already the best defender in the world. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but the first 2 years of his career, Wemby really wasn't the smartest defender. He got away with a lot because of how great his physical tools were, and he was just jumping at everything. But so far this season, Wemby's been a lot more than just his blocks. He's been able to shut off the entire paint. He's been able to alter the entire game. Opposing offenses have the lowest rim frequency in the league when Wembanyama's on the floor this year. Absolutely ridiculous stuff. So not only is he giving you the huge frame defensively, the huge recovery, he's also giving you perfect positioning. And now, there's basically no space to operate in the pick and roll when you're playing against Wembanyama. He can take away the pull-up, take away the middle of the floor, and still recover to the roller with his huge arms and wingspan all in one play, like nothing ever happened. This guy's 21 years old, and he's already become a Bill Russell level defensive game breaker. Just nothing you can do, it feels unfathomable to score against him. Really, the only way you can overcome Wembanyama defensively right now is by trying to foul him out. Just be aggressive all game and hope you can get a few ticky-tacky fouls. That's exactly what Zion Williamson and New Orleans did, and it finally worked in overtime, but they still lost the game. When Wembanyama is on the floor this year, the San Antonio Spurs have a 96 defensive rating, which would be best in the entire NBA. When Wembanyama is off the floor, the Spurs have a 124 defensive rating, a full 28-point difference. They essentially go from the best defense in the entire NBA to the worst defense just because of one singular player. When Wembanyama is on the floor this year, opponents are shooting 40% from 2. The lowest mark in modern NBA history is 47. When he's off the floor, they're shooting 55% from 2, way above league average. This, by no exaggeration, is one of the best starts we've ever seen an NBA player have to a season. He's by far being the most dominant defender maybe in history, while also being an efficient 30-point per game scorer who never turns the ball over. And I know I just spent a lot of time talking about Wemby. One day I'm going to do a full-on breakdown, maybe later in the year when we have more data, but the Spurs are a lot more than just him. Dylan Harper is one of the best driving rookies we've ever seen also. So far, Dylan Harper is top 5 in the league in drives. Not top 5 among rookies, not top 5 on his team, top 5 in the entire league. And the guys around him are Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Zion Williamson, Giannis. Like, those are the best players in the entire world next to a rookie guard. And because so much of the draft class hype went to Cooper Flagg in the draft cycle, people forget that Dylan Harper was one of the best guard prospects this decade, right up there with guys like Cade Cunningham. He's an anomaly as a driver. He's able to get there wherever he wants and then makes a perfect decision whenever he breaks the paint. He moves like a complete veteran on offense. Every time he gets into the paint, you're expecting a good decision, either him getting all the way to the rim or creating a good look for one of his teammates. And I don't think it's possible for someone like Dylan Harper to have a better pick and roll partner than someone like Victor Wembanyama. In the minutes that Dylan Harper and Wemby have shared together, they've been game breaking. A 121 offensive rating and a 78 defensive rating. Among duos with above 30 minutes this season, they've had the best net rating. He's already one of the most silky and smooth finishers in the world, and he's 19 years old. And I know they have De'Aaron Fox coming in a few weeks, but I promise you, this guy is the future of this franchise next to Wembanyama. Rookie guards are notoriously known for struggling early as a scorer, as a finisher, and as a playmaker, but he showed no signs of struggle. In fact, some of the publicly available advanced stats already say that Dylan Harper is playing like a top 40 player in the entire NBA. And outside of VJ Edgecombe, there's really no rookie playing on the same level as him right now. The Spurs do have one big question and dilemma going forward between Harper, Castle, and Fox. Who do you prioritize and who do you keep long term? But I do think people are underrating the impact that De'Aaron Fox can still have just because of how good Castle and Harper have been so far. Fox still hasn't played much with Wemby, and he's obviously shown the signs of being an all-star offensive player. And even though Harper and Castle have impressed so far, I still think having a veteran scorer, a proven playoff scorer, is still going to be important for this team come playoff time, especially in the half court as stuff can dry up. He's also really good at creating turnovers, and the San Antonio team outside of Wembanyama doesn't really get a lot of stocks being steals or blocks, so having a player like him will also be important. But moving forward, outside of Harper, Wemby, and Fox, Castle is also being really nice to start this year. The turnovers are definitely really bad right now. I think some of it's because he's being overtasked so much as the primary ball handler in the starting unit. I think once Fox comes back in, he'll ease into more of a secondary role. Stephon Castle has some clearly very special traits. The way he's able to drive and move isn't normal for someone 6'5". The way he's able to knife through the paint, his driving patterns, his ability to get low to the ground, all remind you of maybe a young Shai on the Clippers. Obviously, Castle's probably not going to become Shai offensively, but what I'm trying to say is that Castle just moves in a different way than your average player. And those movement patterns, the flexibility, the creativity on his drives really give you potential star flashes. And so far this year, Stephon Castle has been much more efficient, so far shooting 66% from 2, which would be a big 15% increase from last year. But more importantly than his overall efficiency, he's able to get to the line at a very good rate right now. Right now he's drawing 8.8 free throws so far this season. So far, he's top 3 among all guards in free throw rate this season, and you can start to see why people are so high on him. The driving ability, the foul drawing ability, and obviously the defense, which I'll talk about right now. At UConn, Stephon Castle was one of the best defenders in the country. As a rookie, he wasn't fully there yet, but so far this season, according to almost every metric, he's been a big positive. The biggest weakness right now is definitely his defensive IQ. He's not really the smartest off-ball defender, which is really hurting his overall team defense value. But the same fluidity that shows up on offense shows up on defense. And if he can improve his screen navigation, him and Wemby will be one of the best pick-and-roll defensive duos in the entire league. And I also think him paired with either Harper or Fox is a really good fit because he can scale up defensively, be that primary point of attack guy, while also being a good off-the-catch option with how lethal his driving is. But another quiet player who's really stepped up this season for the Spurs is Devin Vassell. Obviously has been with this team for multiple years now, but he's truly becoming one of the better volume shooters in the NBA. For a team with a lot of guards that aren't high volume pull-up shooters in De'Aaron Fox, Castle, and Dylan Harper, having an off-ball scorer like Devin Vassell is huge. Right now, he's attempting nearly 8 3-point shots a game and an insane 43% clip. And going up and down this roster, you'll see how much talent has accumulated in San Antonio. Obviously, you have your trio of guards who have all the on-ball juice, but even guys like Devin Vassell, who are now off-ball scorers, can put the ball on the floor and do stuff. Same with guys like Keldon Johnson, who has taken a smaller role this year. And speaking of Keldon Johnson, he's been absolutely awesome to start the year. With Sochan out, he's been forced to play more of the 4, and he's been rebounding really well in his own unit, while also bringing the speed and driving ability to this lineup. Sochan's obviously a very interesting and controversial player. A lot of people have different viewpoints on him, but in my opinion, when I look at Sochan on the Spurs roster, all I'm seeing is that they have even more lineup versatility. If they want to go bigger with Wemby, but still keep some speed, you can put Sochan at the 4. If you want to go all in on offensive skill, you can put someone like Keldon Johnson at the 4 and have Wemby as the sole big and play faster. Or if you want to go truly big and have twin towers down there, you have Luke Kornet, who was one of the highest impact role players last year in the NBA, and so far, he's shown every reason to believe they'll continue that in San Antonio. Last year, San Antonio didn't really have a good backup big. When Wemby was off the floor, they were kinda cooked. But now you add Kornet, a player who's a very strong rebounder, a very good playmaker for his position. With this roster, you're going to absolutely find ways to survive without Wemby on the floor offensively. And just the pure ability to go double big with him and Wemby is extremely fun. You can have Kornet maybe play the pick and roll, play and drop, while Wemby's a free safety back there and help. But another unspoken factor about this team is that they're very good on the boards positionally. Even someone like Champagnie, who's mainly a shooter, is averaging 6.5 boards and has one of the highest rebound rates among wings. Obviously, going from a team that didn't even make the play-in to full-on contention is a huge leap, but I think San Antonio might be one of the best teams to combat someone like OKC. Their ball handlers probably aren't experienced enough yet, but maybe De'Aaron Fox, when he comes back, shows that he can take a bigger load and take a big leap with Wemby also. But the main thing I've learned through the first few weeks of the season is that no one will want to play the San Antonio Spurs. They push you out your comfort zone, and when you're not comfortable, a lot of things can happen. If you made it this far, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed, liked, and commented any thoughts or any suggestions. Thank you.